Behind the glittering lights and dazzling films of Hollywood's heyday, there was a dark underworld of secrets and darkness that had never been revealed. The stars we admire are not just the glamorous faces on the screen, but also the people who paid a heavy price with their bodies and souls. Secret parties, quiet deals, and ruthless battles for survival created a different Hollywood, a place where only the toughest could survive and keep the spotlight. Think you know old Hollywood? Prepare to discover the harsh truth behind the glamorous silver screen. Rock Hudson. The dream boy of the 1950s was not born a legendary masculine icon. He was Roy Fitzgerald, a poor truck driver with a chiseled jawline and a head full of dreams. But dreams alone were not enough to pay the rent in Hollywood. Rumors long buried under the dust of glossy biographies reveal that Hudson's success was not due to auditions or talent alone. In fact, his breakthrough came not on the set, but at secret parties where desperate young men offered more than charm to those in power. It was the powerful mentor Henry Wilson, a notorious spy who saw Roy's potential and transformed him into Rock Hudson, a star made of dark secrets. Under Wilson's guidance, success meant quiet effort and more than pride. Hudson played this survival game well, but the price was extremely high. By day, he was America's leading man, and by night, the truth was carefully hidden. Rock Hudson's legacy extends beyond blockbuster movies to the brutal trade-offs that have made and broken Hollywood legends beneath the fine suits and tough exterior lies. A man willing to do whatever it takes to survive in a system that demands silence, beauty, and obedience. His story is a fascinating and haunting look at the true cost of fame. Ramon Novaro, the velvet icon of Tinseltown, was more than just a Latino heartthrob on the silent screen. He was also a quiet tragedy behind the glittering spotlight. With his fiery eyes and plush velvet tuxedo, he escaped poverty with nothing but beauty and grit. His real name was Jose Ramon Gil Samaniego, a young man who arrived in Hollywood like so many other aspiring actors in a city of empty promises and unfulfilled dreams. Insiders and biographers whisper of secret meetings, shady deals, and powerful men who held the fate of his career in their hands. Like many young hopefuls, Novaro was forced to trade safety for fairness, surviving not by luck, but by extreme caution. These were not loud deals, but whispered deals, silent lifelines in a brutal industry. Despite his star-making turn on the screen in Ben-Hur, the ghosts of his past haunted him like a silent refrain, and in 1968, tragedy struck when he was murdered by two young men, a chilling reminder that secrets in Hollywood come with a high price. Ramon Novaro's story is not just a legend of a star, but also a heartbreaking echo of struggle, sacrifice, and survival in a world full of glamour, but also dangerous. Scotty Bowers. The man who knew too much was the secret Hollywood never wanted to reveal. Starting as a gas station attendant on Hollywood Boulevard in the late 1940s, Scotty built an underground empire of power and scandal. He operated a secret network where actors, producers, and studio bosses turned to for their secret desires that could not be made public. Scotty was not only a problem solver, but also the silent architect of Hollywood's underground economy, connecting aspiring young people with ultimate power through lucrative deals. His memoir, Full Service, shocked the world when it exposed the glamorous facade of Hollywood, revealing the dark secrets behind the bright smiles on the red carpet. Scotty's stories were confirmed by many other sources, revealing the cruel truth behind the glamour, were the deals that never made it to the press. Scotty not only survived this cruel world, he mastered it. While many hid their shame, he wore the truth like armor for the desperate actors who crossed his path. A night with Scotty could mean life and death, and even a career. In a Hollywood full of illusions, Scotty Bowers was the cruel reality that could not be denied. Salmano. The rebel who couldn't escape the shadows had talent looks and a breakout role in Rebel Without a Cause that made him an overnight star. But behind the teen idol image was a young man born of desperation and survival instinct. Before he was strutting red carpets and magazine covers, Sal was just a poor kid in Los Angeles, struggling in a city that devoured dreamers before lunch. In Hollywood, rumors of Mano taking contracts with private companies, part of a dark network where ambition was exchanged for opportunity and silence was bought with cash, never ceased. Despite his fame, Sal couldn't escape the world that nurtured him. In 1976, his tragic death from a stabbing in a dark alley remains a mystery. Was it coincidence, or did his past catch up with him? His tragic death became a cautionary tale for Hollywood, a reminder that behind the glittering spotlight, many stars carry scars the public never sees. Salmano was not only a rebel on screen, but also a survivor until the city that made him a legend swallowed him up. His story proves that the brightest lights sometimes burn in the darkest corners. George Nader, a star with a chiseled jaw and a gentleman's smile, was once tipped for a bright future in Hollywood, but behind the charm was a complicated and shadowy story. A close friend of Rock Hudson and protege of notorious agent Henry Wilson. Nader's early days in the movie capital were far from smooth. According to insiders, he was part of a shady party scene where favors were traded in private rooms, and to survive, he had to agree to do things that weren't in his contract. His good looks opened doors, but always at a high price. Nader's reputation came not just from his talent, but also from his ability to please powerful people behind the scenes. In Hollywood's underworld, such deals weren't shameful, but the norm. Nader played the game, deftly balancing ambition and secrecy in a town that punished anyone who got it wrong. As rumors swirled about Rock Hudson's personal life, Nader remained loyal, perhaps because he knew firsthand what it was like to wear a mask in public. His story is a haunting reminder that in the old days of Hollywood, fame was not just a matter of luck or talent, but the result of deals, secrets, and endless nightly battles of wit. Montgomery Cliff, the star whose piercing eyes tell stories more heartbreaking than any script, is not just an actor but a symbol of Hollywood's beautiful decay. Before he became the tormented soul of the screen, he was just a hungry young actor lost in the noise of New York and Los Angeles. Insiders say the haunting pain in his eyes was not acting, but real experience. Rumors of late-night visits, whispered deals, and moments of survival behind closed doors in hotels followed him for decades. The glamorous exterior was a veil for a man fleeing poverty and deep hurt, sometimes forced to trade charm for salvation. Hollywood romanticizes Cliff's pain, turning it into myth, but the truth is much more brutal. He faced a brutal system where young actors were prey, and to move forward he had to lose a part of himself. The car accident, the addiction, the mental breakdown were not just personal tragedies, but the manifestations of a man who gave too much and received too little. Montgomery Cliff's legacy is not just The roles he played, but the high price he paid to maintain his stardom in a world built on illusion. A rare star who could not and perhaps never wanted to hide his true pain. Anthony Perkins, the handsome face who terrified the world as Norman Bates in Psycho, harbored a dark secret that never made it to the screen. Before the classic film became a phenomenon, Perkins was just a shy, soft-spoken, charming young man struggling to survive in a ruthless Hollywood where survival meant dark compromises. His irresistible charm not only caught the eye of casting directors, but also the eyes of powerful men behind the scenes who wanted more. The Hollywood underworld of the 1950s was based not just on talent, but also on favors and secret meetings. Perkins, like many desperate young actors, attended arranged parties where silence was worth its weight in gold and ambition was traded behind closed doors. His love lives, his friendships, his career were shrouded in secrecy. Even as his fame soared, Perkins lived in quiet fear, torn between the image America admired and the reality he had to hide. For Perkins, fame was both a salvation and a prison, with indelible scars. Tab Hunter. The sun-kissed blonde charmer who graced teen magazines in the 1950s was not only a symbol of the ideal American beauty, but also a man with deep secrets. Before becoming the perfect model under the Hollywood lights, Hunter was just a poor actor with a handsome face and empty pockets. Under the guidance of the notorious spy Henry Wilson, he was drawn into a world of private parties and mysterious benefactors, where the meetings often contained special auditions that were never on the official casting list. In his candid memoir, Hunter never named the people involved, but the message was clear to succeed. One had to play by the rules, sometimes breaking them, even hurting himself. His career took off, but the burden of his past never let him go. Behind every perfect photo and studio romance is a man burdened with secrets his fan club will never know. Hunter survived his prime with near-perfect dignity, but the price of his silence was high. His story is not just about fame, but also a brutal reminder of the price of truth in a town where everything is perfect when the lights are out. Tyrone Power. Hollywood's golden god with his steely, commanding face was once the epitome of the dashing hero and the irresistible romantic lead. But behind the glittering lights of the studio, his journey to fame was not easy. Before he became a box office sensation, Power was a struggling actor in pre-war New York, desperate for opportunity but always denied. According to rumors and memoirs, he, like many dreamers of the time, had to take private meetings with powerful men who could make or break their careers. These were not studio appointments, but quiet transactions conducted with charm, friendship, and silence. Hollywood demanded that he be flawless, polished, and untouchable, but the path was fraught with pitfalls and challenges. Survival required more than talent, knowing when to smile, when to comply, and when to keep quiet. As he became a global icon, the secrets buried beneath the tuxedos and carefully choreographed romances quietly lingered in the gossip columns, and the eyes of longing, the legend of Tyrone Power shone brightly, but was rooted in the darkest corners of Hollywood, a reminder that no one gets to the top without paying the price. William Billy Haynes was not only a shining star on the MGM screen in the 1920s, but also a rebel who refused to hide in a Hollywood that demanded absolute silence. A box office draw, he was charming, intelligent, and always shining in every frame. But before he achieved fame, Haynes struggled on the streets of New York and Los Angeles, using his wit and good looks to survive. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Billy never pretended or hid. He often joked with friends about his early days at the company, where the line between building relationships and making money was extremely thin. When MGM gave him an ultimatum: drop his gay co-star or give up his career, Haynes did not falter. He chose love and freedom over lies and contracts. Instead of disappearing from the spotlight, he became a famous interior designer, decorating for the very people who once wanted to erase him. Billy Haynes not only survived, he turned the tables in a power game filled with masked men. His story is a testament to defiance, brutal honesty, and unwavering dignity in an age when many were silenced. It was his courage that made him a legend. Van Johnson, a blonde with a distinctive freckled smile, was once the poster boy for MGM and the face of doting mothers and studios. But the Hollywood glamour couldn't mask his shadowy past. Arriving in Tinseltown with no connections and little money, Johnson faced the same harsh reality that plagues every young actor: talent is worthless without access. In post-war Hollywood, access often came in the form of smoky parties, secret invitations, and quiet deals. Insiders and biographers tell of a young man navigating a secret network of power brokers and wealthy patrons who could open doors to success for a high price. Desperate and ambitious Johnson played the game, showing up at the right parties, making the right friends, and when necessary, accepting unwelcome offers. When fame came, the past was hidden beneath publicity photos and staged romances. But those who knew Johnson before he was famous remember the hard work, the survival instincts, and the secret deals. Van Johnson's story is not about corruption, but about survival. Behind every perfect shot is a kid who learned early on that nothing in Hollywood comes for free, and that the price is sometimes never mentioned. Farley Granger, the innocent face, beloved by Hollywood for his soft eyes and boyish charm, hides a little-known story of survival. Before he became a fixture in Hitchcock thrillers, Granger was a poor dreamer on the brink of ruin. He candidly admitted that early in his career, a Broadway producer kept him in a secret deal to help pay his rent and open doors for him. In post-war Hollywood, where beauty was a commodity, Granger soon learned that relationships were not made in casting rooms, but forged behind closed doors at high society parties where ambition cost everything. He was unashamed to admit this rare truth: being young, poor, and beautiful in a predatory industry meant making impossible choices. Granger lived between two opposing worlds: the glamour of Hollywood by day and the network of favors and whispers of darkness by night. His legacy lies not just in his brilliant performances, but in his courage to admit that innocence is a performance, and that the price of fame is far more personal than most people dare to reveal. Carrie Grant. The Hollywood gentleman, before becoming a symbol of sophistication and charm, was Archibald Leach, a poor teenager who ran away from a broken family in England, wandering and sleeping in shabby boarding houses across New York. The journey from a struggling vaudeville performer to the position of Hollywood king was not a bed of roses, but on the contrary, full of secrets, temptations, and fierce survival instincts. Grant's early years were always surrounded by wealthy, older men who not only gave him career advice but also made subtle arrangements to help him stand firm and step closer to the spotlight. In a city obsessed with beauty and silence, Grant quickly realized that sometimes a timely smile opened more doors than talent. He skillfully built for himself a perfect image so impenetrable that no one dared to delve into the dark shadows of his past. But Hollywood will never forget the handsome man with the iron will who did everything to survive. Carrie Grant became a legend, not only because of her excellent roles, but also because of her resilience to overcome a harsh system that demanded everything and gave nothing for free. John Ireland, a tough but gentle guy, has built a career playing tough guys with a decisive stride and a lightning-fast punch. His childhood was nothing like the scary characters on screen. Before he was signed to film contracts and taking on tough roles, John was just a poor face in New York City, struggling to survive in a world that prized beauty over talent. According to old Hollywood backstage stories, Ireland was part of the silent film circuit, where young actors had to attend the right parties, say the right things, and bring more than a little charm to wealthy, powerful men. It wasn't a thrill-seeking game, but a fight for survival when the rent was due, and opportunity came from the back room, not the stage. He played the game carefully and quietly, and when the spotlight was on, he didn't look back. Behind the rough exterior was the light of a child who traded dignity for opportunity. His past is buried deep, but a light still shines in his eyes.